Good morning, students. We all are meeting after a very long period. Hope you must have enjoyed your holidays a lot, and many of you must have become bored also. But then, as we cannot stop studying, still we don't know how many days it is going to take for us to come in the routine. We are starting online teaching. So, you all know me. I don't have to introduce myself to you. Now we are going to start history, first lesson, that is sources of history. You all know that this particular topic, that is sources of history, we have been studying last 3 years. That is from 6th standard, 7th, and then this is the 3rd year. So, can you tell me what are the sources of history? Yes, sources of history are material sources, written sources, and oral sources. So see, the same chapter was there in the 7th standard also, which was also the first chapter, and again this year we are going to see the same chapter, that is sources of history, which is the first chapter of our syllabus. Now again, as a part of revision, sources of history, they are divided into 3 parts, which are they? Material sources, written sources, and oral sources. Now, can you give me some of the examples related to material sources? Yes, they are coins, copper plates, buildings, etc. Then, examples of written sources. That also we know all the inscriptions that we find. Now, see, this is the book in my hand. It is also written source. But in those days, written sources were nothing but that they were rather something extra than the books. Because books were not available. And the third point is oral sources, which I am telling you orally. The sentences which I am speaking, they are not written here. So these are the oral sources. So today again we are going to revise the same topic, that is sources of history, and we will see the first point, that is of material sources. So just look into the textbook. Material sources, various objects, monuments, places, coins, sculptures, etc. can be included in material sources. So what things can be included in material sources? Monuments, coins, copper plates, buildings. Even we know that there are weapons also which can be included. Not included, they are coming under the heading material sources. So now based on material sources, the first point that we are going to see is buildings and places. Now again pay attention in the textbook. Now we all know what type of buildings are there. In buildings, what things you can take? Yes, there are temples, there are churches, there are mosques, there are palaces also. But this year in our textbook, a detailed information related to buildings and places is given. So just pay attention in the textbook. The period of modern Indian history is believed as a period of European, especially the British rulers and governance of princely states. In this period, various buildings, bridges, roads, water supply systems, fountains, etc. were built. Yes, so we all know Harappan civilization. In Harappan civilization, also if there was a spacious one which was built in a specific manner, and that is why it had gained more importance. In those days, in Harappan civilization, the houses were also constructed in such a way that the roads were meeting each other at a right angle. In the same way, in modern India, that is when Britishers were ruling, they had also constructed. They have also given us many new ideas, and that is why it is important to know the bridges, roads, and water supply also. Why? Because these are also coming under the heading of buildings. There was a particular way they were constructed. These buildings include, now what things can be included in buildings? Buildings means not just this building. In that, how many things can be included? See the first one, government offices, residences of officers, leaders and revolutionaries, palaces of rulers of princely states, forts, prisons, etc. Among these monuments, many buildings are intact even today. Means what it is telling us that the buildings which were built in those days, till today, many of these buildings are, we can see them very easily, or they are still visible means they are still long lasting in such a way they were constructed. Then among these monuments many buildings are intact even today means they are still today present. Some are declared as national monuments. Now some of the buildings they have been declared as national monuments because the way of the construction is totally different. It has been very attractively made and that is why they have been importance at national level. Some are declared as national monuments where some are converted into museums. Now many of the palaces in those days the kings were living in palaces. But now there are no kings. Now we are having government, that is prime ministers and all that. So the palaces of those days which were very beautifully constructed, today as there are no kings living over there, these particular palaces are being used as museums or some of the buildings. They are today being converted into museums where different types of ancient things are being preserved. Then, for example, they have given here cellular jail in Andaman. So now we know what is a jail. The persons who commit some particular type of crime, they are being punished and then they have to stay for a period in that particular place where they are being, what you can say, totally under the observation of the people who are in charge of them. So a particular place that is in Andaman which is called the cellular jail is also being converted into a museum. Then see the next paragraph. While visiting these sites, we get information about contemporary history, architecture, nature of monument, also the economic conditions of that particular period. So by looking at these particular things, we come to know that these things are being built in the ancient times and how they were must be constructed. Then, just during the visit to cellular jail in Andaman, we get information about the revolutionaries. Now, what are the revolutionaries? The people who gave new ideas to organize the people and fight against the Britishers. So, see here a name is mentioned, that is B.D. Savarkar. By visiting Mani Bhavan in Mumbai or Sevagram Ashram at Wardha, we get the information about the history of Gandhi and Iran. This is the period when Gandhiji was living. What particular things they have done, how they used to spread or where they used to be when they were in prison, what things they used to, what activities they used to carry out secretly to pass the message to our other members who were free and how they should prepare themselves to fight against the British rule. All these things were being done over here and this particular period was known as Gandhian era. Now we are going to see the second point, that is statues and memorials. Now what are statues and memorials? Yes, statues, now we know there is a statue of Shivaji Maharaj, there is a statue of Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. So what are they? They are the statues built related to the good deed done by this particular persons and that is why their statues are made. So look at that. During the pre-independence and post-independence period, memorials of many personalities were erected in the form of statues. These statues are also important for the study of modern Indian history. The various statues provide information about the contemporary rulers and eminent personalities. Now what is eminent personalities? The persons who really put up all their efforts and they prove themselves to be very strong, to be very powerful. They play on the statues give us information about the full name of the concerned person, birth and death details, brief information about their contribution and a biographical stage of the person. Now what things are mentioned on the statues? Statues particularly constructed and below that the name of that person is given, his birth date is given, the year in which he died, that is given, and even sometimes his birthplace is also mentioned over there. So these are the information that we get from statues. Now, which are the great persons whose statues are being? See the examples given here. Just as the statues of Mahatma Jyotirao Phule, Lokmanya Tilak, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, there are memorials which are erected in the memory of various events which give information about the concerned event, period, people related to the event. For example, Hutatma Smarak at various places. So along with statues, even memorials are built. And these that particular person. And here also many things related to the life of that particular great leaders have been preserved. Now just turn back to the page. Now we are going to see do you know, and in that something related to museums and history is new. So let us read it each one. For the study of history, various objects, paintings, photographs and such other things are preserved in museums. So what is a museum? It is a place where many ancient things have been preserved. Now what is the intention? Why these things are preserved? When something becomes old, we just throw it out. It is of no use. So why we should preserve it? But no, because of these things we come to know about the past history, but we come to know the things that were used in the past times, that is in the ancient. At the other hand, that is in Pune, we can see different objects, documents giving information about the life of Mahatma Gandhi. So see the picture. In the picture, Aga Khan Palace is shown. Where is Aga Khan Palace? Yes, it is in Pune. And what things are found in this particular palace, that is Aga Khan Palace? Yes, it is giving us information about the life of Mahatma Gandhi. We all know Mahatma Gandhi. He had fought many of the satyagrahas. He had started many satyagrahas. So all these things, whatever things he was using in those days, he had started a chakra of his own. He had given an idea to the people to make cloth with our own hands. So all these things have been preserved in the museums, and the place in which things related to Mahatma Gandhi's life is kept, which we can see